stuff that we're going to do. So, Danae, over to you.
Yeah, thank you. I'm a bit of a data nerd. So yeah, you'll see when I say I like things data driven. It should be able to come through in these slides. But very happy to have you all on the session with us. It's the last workshop for 2022. I cannot believe it's November already. But today we'll be talking about how you can increase your website leads by using conversion rate optimization. For short, we also call it CRO. So just so that everyone is aware of the acronym. I know the industry does come with a lot of acronyms, not like we need any more, but nonetheless, here we are. All right. So just to give you guys an idea of where this fits into the data cycle. So Alicia, you mentioned that you are quite new to digital marketing. So this is kind of quite a nice visualization where we show you guys the data cycle. So we start with the collect phase, which is how we enrich and curate our data. So whatever data we need to collect, make sure that it is, contextualized and customized to our needs. Then we move into the reporting phase, which is where we really visualize the data to show exactly what it is that we need to prioritize. Because let's be honest, you can literally track anything on your website, but it doesn't mean that you have to. So we need to make sure that the data is relevant and customized to you. And then we go into the analyze phase, where we look at deriving insights from the data, and then also looking at attribution. What channels are working, which is bringing the most traffic, the quality of traffic, what do we do with that traffic that comes to our website, what are people doing on our website, and how can we help them to make the experience better, which brings us into our next phase, which is activate. And this is the section that we will be covering today. So we will be looking at conversion rate optimization, and this really fits into the activate pillar, if I can call it as such. And that is where you look at optimizing your experience, your data, and where you will be running your experiments. So this is quite an exciting one. I know from a digital marketing industry perspective, we really tend to focus on the first three pillars, and sometimes the industry as a whole, we don't really look at the activate part. But that's actually a very exciting part, which is why we're covering it today. We want to end the year on a high note. In terms of the agenda, what we will be covering today, we just want to keep it simple, help you guys understand where we are and how we can help you to increase those ultimately sales on your website. So we will be covering conversion rate, what it is, why should you care about it, and where can you find the data within your analytics account. Then we'll be covering benchmarking. We'll just touch on that just to see how you are performing. And majority of the session, we will be going into the experimenting part. So what is the importance of testing? Why should you care about it? Why should it form part of your digital strategy? We will also be doing a bit of a how-to guide, just so that you get a practical experience. I hope my recording or my video that I've inserted works, so please bear with me. As Ferdy mentioned, this is a two-way street, so please stop me at any time if you have any questions. Don't be shy. We're a small group, so we want to customize it to you guys. We want to make sure that it is of value to you. All right. So without further ado, let's go into conversion rate. Cool. So why is it important, guys? Because you can double your sales without increasing media spend. It's really as simple as that. Nothing more complicated about it. And with the current economic environment, what we are finding is that all budgets are, yes, Jenny, all budgets are being cut, and media budgets are first in line. It's just the reality of the trade, and we need to be clever. How do we outsmart our competitors while still increasing our sales? And that is with conversion rate optimization. A simple demonstration on the screen, you can see a marginal increase in your conversion rate can mean a significant increase in your bottom line. Increase your conversion rate with 2%, you can double your sales. So example here, you've got a 2% conversion rate, which means 20 sales. Let's do some CRO, conversion rate optimization, and you can move it to 40 sales. No extra budget, just some man time, but minimal, right? Cool. So very exciting stuff. You can see I'm getting quite passionate about it. But yeah, so it's a geek in me coming out. Okay, but let's take a step back. Firstly, what is a conversion? So I'm sure everyone on this call is familiar with what a conversion is, but I just want to make sure that we are all on the same page. So it can mean something different for each company or for each industry. It is when a user takes a desired action on your website. So be it a purchase, a form submission, signing up to email, clicking on a button, whatever the case may be. These are just some examples that I've put down here to give you an indication of what possible conversions might be. And then also just a reminder that we do get micro and macro conversions. So the micro usually leads up to the macro conversion, and it's important that we do take that into consideration at all stages within our strategies. Because if the micro conversion doesn't work, then it might hinder the whole process leading up to the macro conversion. All right. Cool. Then a simple slide. How do I calculate my conversion rate? Right? So talking about this, but in practical sense, what we do is how we calculate the conversion rate is we take the number of conversions that we have on our website. So obviously we take a date range. Let's say 1st to 31st of October, we get our number of conversions on the website, and we divide that by the total users for that same period on the website, and we times it by 100. As simple as that. Any questions before I move on? I'm going to show you guys where we can find that data now. Does it all make sense? Okay, cool. So let me show you where you can find this data. So also now we know we've got 2 different analytics platforms. Okay. First one is the normal universal analytics, also known as GA3. So just showing you guys on the screen where you can find this data if you're still using GA3 or universal analytics. Sorry, I just need to put my glasses on for this one. I've been instructed not to put my glasses on because you can't see my eyes. So if you go under behavior, you'll see here on the right, on the left-hand side where everything is highlighted. So you go under behavior, then you go into site content and you click on landing pages. And this will give you exactly the breakdown in a table format of all your landing pages on your website. And there you will be able to see your acquisition, your behavior, and it will show you your events as well. And from this, looking at one landing page only, you'll see, depends on how your view is set up, it might show you automatically, it might show you your conversion rate, or you can just take the numbers, manually do the calculation by yourself. So just as an example for this landing page in particular, we had 37 goals, so that's our conversions, and divided by the users on the site, which is 57, we times that by 100 and it gives us a conversion rate of 64%. Okay. Going on to GA4. Now this one's a bit different because GA4 is fundamentally set up different than the old analytics. It's event-based. We actually don't have conversion rate in GA4, but you can still do the calculation. It's just going to be a bit more manual, but it's the same principle as universal analytics. So you're just going to find it at on a separate section. We are going to reports. You're going to look at engagements, as you can see on the left-hand side, and then you're going to go to pages and screens. Now, pages and screens, because GA4 combines website data as well as app data. So on there, you'll be able to see your various landing pages. You are able to see the amount of views or users that you have on the site, as well as your goals or conversions. So as noted, it doesn't show you the conversion rate automatically, so you're going to have to calculate it manually. But as I've shown, simple calculation, you can do it easy. Okay.
Then I just stop there quickly.
Yes.
So for just to make this practical, so Hendrik, you at Project Link, that would be, for example, you're looking at how many visitors have gone to your course page and viewed it, and then how many of them actually purchased. So it'll be the amount of purchases divided by the visitors to the page.
Exactly.
That would be yours. Jenny, I assume you've got many different clients with many different lead forms. So that would literally be like either the specific lead form visitors, the leads divided by lead form visitors, or it'll be like leads divided by total website visitors. And that'll give you the conversion rate.
Conversion rate, yeah.
Does that make sense? Anybody else have a question?
Does anyone have a
why is GA4 more complicated?
It's because
shouldn't it be more simplified?
Yes,
like in
essence, it should, but the platform isn't as user-friendly, so it does take some getting used to, and also the way it's structured is fundamentally different. So it is based on events. So it's a bit of a mind shift that you need to do, and personally, from my perspective, it feels like they went into a bit of a rush to launch it. So it feels to me like it's still in a bit of a beta stage. So there's still a bit of bugs here and there, especially if you're used to the old analytics. I don't know, Fadi, your input on that.
So Jenny, you're right. It's supposed to become simpler, and they've made it more complicated. And I think it's as they said, it's not really ready yet, but they're forcing people to adopt it. So it's sort of like it's a reality. It's like load shedding in South Africa. You just accept it and move on.
Yeah.
So it's not.
That's the reality. Yeah. And I also think with just to digress a bit to GA4, we do have a deadline of when we need to move over our data or to GA4 from the old analytics. And I think the sooner we can get it done, the better, because also you're going to start collecting more data. You can get used to the platform, and then you'll have more historic data in your account as well, which can make it a lot easier as well. We've got lots of workshops actually on how to move over to GA4. So if you guys are interested, and you have a
post a link in the chat.
Thanks, Fadi.
All the resources.
Yeah, perfect. Thank you. Yeah, it's not scary, but it's just something that needs to happen. Right, so just quickly want to check the question here that we have. Which one is more advisable to use between GA3 and GA4, or is it dependent on what a person is doing? So, Eric, it's really, it depends on what you want to achieve, but essentially you don't have a choice. You need to move over to GA4 sometime sooner rather than later. What you can do if you want to, if everyone isn't up to scratch yet on GA4, is you can start setting up your account already on GA4 so that it can start collecting data, but you can still use GA3 in the background. Or you can still use GA3 and have GA4 collect the data in the background. And then once everyone is up to scratch with what GA4 is, and you are certain that your data is accurate, and everyone is comfortable to use it, you can make that switch. But it is very dependent on your needs. Yes.
We can continue the GA4-3 debate at the end of the session. It's a
Okay,
rabbit
cool.
hole.
Okay. Yes, they have, but they haven't. Fardi, we'll touch on that one a little bit later. We make a note on that, please.
Okay.
Thank you. Okay, cool. All right, so just going into benchmark, this is going to be a very brief section of the workshop. So just a slide on what is it, right? So I'm sure we've all heard it before, but to put it simply, to be the plain, it's the process of measuring your performance of your marketing efforts against best in class, so against your competitors. And why is this important, right? So we need to understand how we can identify internal opportunities for improvement. Now, why does this matter? Why do we want to improve? Because we want to increase sales. Simple as that, right? It's a cutthroat world out there. And we need to survive, and we need to make it work, and we need to stay ahead of our competitors. Okay. In terms of benchmarking examples, so I've just put a slide in here of a screenshot, and this is widely available on the internet. You get it in various places. If you just Google benchmarking numbers 2022, you can get multiple results. We will share the URL with you of this one specifically. But just to put it practically, we need to understand where we are in terms of our performance against our competitors, so that we can stay that step or 3 steps ahead of them, right? Because we want their sales. It needs to be ours, right? So that we don't lose our jobs.
Sorry, just on this one, the conversion rates here, I assume it's across different goals. So it could be across purchase, sign up.
Correct.
Okay, so
correct. Yeah, so you'll see on the right-hand side, it shows all the different verticals. So, for an e-commerce site, it would be a purchase. For a consulting industry, it might be, a contact us form. So there's various conversion points within each industry, and it's really, you need to determine what is the best for your company according to your industry. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Cool. So thanks for sharing that, Ferdy. If you go into that link as well, you'll see there's a lot more data. So they go into the average conversion rate. They'll look at the average click-through rate, time on site, all of that. So it's actually quite interesting. Ferdy, you wanted to say something?
Yeah. So just 2 important things about the slide is the top percentage is when somebody Googles you. So they Google for a service. So the intent is quite high. And then the one at the bottom is for when they click on a banner. So it's very important to distinguish between those 2 numbers. The good news is if your conversion rate is not good, let's say it's 1% on the above one, and benchmark is 3%. That means that, I know it's really bad news, but it's actually very good news as well, because it's not that difficult to go from 1% to 3%. It's very difficult to go from 3% to 4%.
Yeah.
So if your conversion rate is low, that's a wonderful opportunity. You're sitting on something that's very valuable, and you can fix it quite quickly.
Okay. Thanks.
Exactly. In this case, ignorance is bliss does not apply. But yeah, as you mentioned, that's the first step in increasing your conversion rate, right? So is to identify those opportunities, and that's why benchmarking is so important. Because we're all sitting with a hell of a lot of data, and sometimes it can be really overwhelming, and we don't know what to do with it. So this is just a good way of understanding what is out there and how you are performing against your peer set. Any other questions on benchmarking? All right, because from here we're going to move into the experiments. Pleasure, Alicia. Go. Cool. So now that we know what the conversion rate is, why it's important, and how you're performing against your competitors, this is where the exciting stuff comes in. This is where we start experimenting so that we can identify even more opportunities for improvement. So just to note that this can be done in various platforms, in various forms. You can actually go down a bit of a rabbit hole, but we need to understand why we need to do this. So why is it important? Okay. So by experimenting, we can increase user engagement and reduce bounce rate. I'm sure everyone's familiar with user engagement on a website and the bounce rate. We can minimize risk on website changes. So we can go into a bit more detail. I'll just make a note to highlight this in when I show you how to do the experiment. It'll make a bit more sense a bit later. Ultimate goal, we're going to increase conversion rate. And all of this, bottom line, increase your sales. So that is really, really why we need to care about experimenting, why we need to make it part of our strategy. Okay, it's as simple as that. One thing that I do want to highlight though is to listen to the data and not your gut. So I'm gonna open the floor here a bit. We've got an example of 2 pages, right? Next to each other, exactly the same. There's one difference. The call to action button on the left is green. The call to action button on the right is red. That's it. Which one do you think performed better?
Red one.
Okay, Jenny saying green. Hendrik red, Dirk red, 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 red.
Green.
Guy,
Green.
green. See, this is super interesting, guys, because what do you get when you mix green and red? Brown. It's not brown. All right. So sorry, that's my mom joke coming through. So my gut would also say green. That's it. Orange. My gut would say green because you get from when you're little, green is go, right? So you have a positive association with green, and red is like danger. No? Would you agree? Okay. What do we get here? Okay. Red outperformed the green button by 21%. Now imagine that is your conversion point, and you can increase your conversion rate by 21%. Remember, I showed you in the beginning, if you can increase, say by 2%, you can double your conversion rate or your sales. Okay, let's aim for the 21% because it's possible. Before moving on, I also just want to say, like, I know experimenting and testing can come across as a bit scary and overwhelming, but you do not have to complicate it. It can be as simple as the button color that can make a huge difference. Yes. Page color, no, yeah, absolutely. You need to take a lot of elements into consideration. But yeah, Patrick, I hear you. But that's the thing, is your gut will tell you one thing, but we need to listen to the data. So it's very interesting. And that's exactly why I wanted to start the experiments with this simple example. But on that note, you just need to start. Start somewhere, even if it is just the call to action copy that's different. If it's just the color that's different. You don't have to change the whole world with an experiment. It's simple. Simple changes that can make a hell of a huge impact. Okay, exciting stuff. So now we're getting into the nitty-gritties. How do I conduct A/B testing? How do I do an experiment? Where do I start? No? Okay. We'll tell you. Google Optimize. Okay. So we're going to be using Google Optimize as an example. But you do get other software on the market that you can use. We like Google Optimize because it's for free. It's literally for free. You can go create an account, start the experiment today. And because it's a Google product, it's got native integrations with Google Analytics and Google Tag Manager. So super simple to set up. If anyone is aware about the Google platforms, you will know that it's super user-friendly, not GA4, but you can use it quite simply. It's very intuitive, very cool. So, okay. How do I start? Okay, create. First step to create an optimized account. Like mentioned, you can do it now in the background of this workshop, but don't, because we need to show you more stuff. Right. Use your Google account, set it up, boom, done. Then all you need to do is you need to place the optimized pixel on the website. You can do this yourself if you've got some experience in doing that, if you've got GTM on your site. I know Ferdi Sommer did ours, boom. But you can also get your developer involved in this, but it's quite straightforward. You can also just Google how to do this.
Danae, just stop quickly.
Yes.
So when creating your optimized account, just use the same login that you use for your Google Analytics. So if it's Julia
point.
at whatever companyname.com, use the same email address, because then it's going to connect automatically with Google Analytics, which will just make your setup easier.
And then you've got that automatic integration.
Yeah.
Good point. Thanks, Ferdi. Cool. Last but not least, then you move ahead with creating an experiment in Optimize. 3 simple steps. We're going to be focusing on the third step for today. So on creating an experiment. So as mentioned, you do get various forms of tests that you can run on your website. You can even run it in your paid media, in your emails, whatever the case may be. But today, we are going to show you how to do an A/B test. Okay. Exciting. Simple example here. We did an A/B test on our landing page for the workshop for today. So A/B test, also widely known as split testing, because you're splitting the page into 2, as really just the process of comparing 2 versions on a web page, on an email or other marketing assets, and measuring the difference in the performance. So you've got A, you've got B, which one is performing better? A/B tests do continue to be the most popular experiment on the market. I think it's because it's very intuitive. There's a very clear distinct in terms of what is different, so you can make the call and derive the insights quite easily from that. Bearing in mind you shouldn't be making too many changes at a given stage. But yeah, it remains the most popular experiment, and this A/B test that you are looking at now required absolutely no website changes. I think it took us 5 minutes, Fadi. Was it 5 or 10 minutes?
Yeah, 10 minutes.
No web developers involved, no creative teams involved. 10 minutes. Just going to highlight the changes that we did here. So at the bottom of the call to action on version B, we added a testimonial of a previous attendee just on the workshop pages. And we removed a bit of content just to make it a bit more simple. Better A or B. We'll get there, Jenny. No. Cool. And that's the 2 that we did. So going into an experiment, I'm going to just show you a few steps on how you would do this, how to go about it, to set up exactly what we did for those website pages. Step 1, ultimate, you have to choose a page with a conversion point. So for us at NightJarr, it was the workshop page, and our conversion point is for you guys to register. That is our conversion. So we chose this page, and the conversion point is register. Step 2, you're going into your optimize account. Now remember, you've already created it, you've already placed the website or the pixel on the website, so everything is done from that perspective. Now you go into your optimize account and you click on create an experiment. Okay, first step, simple step, you name it. And what we would just recommend in terms of naming your experience is call it what it is. It should be intuitive. People should understand when they go into the platforms. If it is you testing workshop page, then we say workshop page test, sign up test, whatever it is that we're wanting to test. For optimize, you get so this optimizes for free. You do get optimize 360, which is the enterprise level, but you have to pay for that. For the current free optimize account, you get a limit of 5 experiments that you can run concurrently, which is more than enough, to be honest. You also do get a limit of 10 personalizations, whether it be scheduled or running. And that is per container of Google Optimize. So if you create an account, you will be able to do 5 experiments and 10 personalizations concurrently. Now, an experiment is quite straightforward, I think. So if we can show you like the A/B test, that's an experiment. Personalization on the other side, we will not be covering it today, but I'm just going to mention it to you guys so that you know it is available should you want to include it in your strategy going forward. Personalization is a set of changes made to your website that we can show you now that is specific only to a group of certain visitors. So unlike experiments, personalizations can run forever and don't have variants. So it is a single set of changes served to a user that meets the targeting conditions. So say you guys, for example, you signed up for our website and we put you in a targeting criteria of previous attendee, and you go to our workshop page, we can target you and say personalize for this group of user to show them, thank you for attending. These are the next upcoming workshops. So that's a simple example. Okay. Any questions? Please stop me at any time if you guys have questions.
Sorry, can you give us a practical example of what this personalization could be? Is it, I don't know, like a demographic characteristic, or could it be?
It could be, yes.
Okay.
So if you want to show, say you've got an event running, a face-to-face event running in Joburg, and someone joins your website and they pick up your demographic location as being in Joburg, they will see a personalized experience on your website.
Okay. Could it be something, okay, let's say you run a campaign. Could it be something that somebody who comes to your page from that campaign, could it work in that way?
It could, but we would rather recommend doing experiments for that one.
Okay.
What do you think, Fabi?
Yeah, I don't know. This personalization is a rabbit hole. I think
it can be a bit of a rabbit hole, yeah.
Yeah, like Alicia, you can do, if somebody comes from a certain area or click on a specific campaign banner, you can take them to a custom page. But it like what we found especially in this market is a lot of our clients they're not doing any experiments and like personalization sort of, and I have very poor web experiences, and personalization is like an evolution from that. So that's like running, and this is like, you know, a lot of clients just don't walk or crawl properly yet. So.
Crawl, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so we would really recommend to only focus on experiments for now. It's a good start, but it's good to know that down the line you can start looking at personalization as well. I think once you're comfortable with the platform and also with your strategy so that it does cover your objectives and that it's relevant to your users. Okay,
thanks.
Sure. Okay, so we've set up the experiment, and now we need to add targeting and variant rules. And at the top, you will see super user-friendly platform. It shows you step by step where you are in the if I can call it funnel, in the process. So we now started our experiments and created content to personalize the experience after they sign up. It can be, yes, Eric. Yeah. So you know exactly where you are in the setup process, which is very, very intuitive from a Google platform. Okay, I think this is, yes, okay. I have recorded this up front, so I'm just going to talk through this. We found it better to just have an example of it in the platform. If it doesn't work, I will just switch my screens so that I can take you guys through it, because I think it's better than screenshots to show you how to actually set this up. Okay, let's see if it works. Ooh, okay. So, nice. We are inside. I just have to stay with it. So clicking on the change, this is our page. You'll see it is still within Optimize if you look at the top. It's just loading on the other side. If you scroll over all the elements, so just the stuff on the page, you can actually edit it. You can remove it, as simple as that. You can edit it. So click on it, say edit. You can change the copy. Boom, make it A, B, C, D, E, F, because we all know what that means. And you say done, right? You can even change the font type. You can change the size. You can change the color. So there's quite a lot that you can do with this. I would recommend just to set up an experiment and start playing around with the platform. It's amazing what you can do. You can change the alignment. You can make it italics. All of the normal editing that you would find with fonts. Over here, you will see I'm trying to move it, right? So you can even move elements on the page. It's not working. So I go to settings, just slide it there to move anywhere. And then you can start moving things around. Boom, bottom, top. And there at the top, you can see all the changes that you've made. If you feel you might want to go back, edit it or delete it, you can do that. It's not a train smash. And then you hit save and check how intuitive it is. It's giving you an error. It's saying there's a page mismatch. So you say, okay, cool, show me what it is. Fix it. And it's fixed. Then you say done. And it is saved. That is how simple it is. Literally, there we've got our two variants. We can upload the weighting of the traffic to the site. So you'll see it'll always say original. So it's the original page of your website that you've chosen, the landing page. And then you've got variant 1. You can name that variant. You can also say call to action button changed, or whatever it may be, whatever works for you. You can personalize it for you so that it makes sense. And you can edit as you go along. You can make changes. You can go back. Remember, this isn't live yet. We're just setting it up at the moment. Okay. You can add multiple variants as well. I would recommend for first few experiments, only do one variant so that you know what is working, so that it's a bit of a more of a controlled environment. So that you know that it was X that made the difference. Thus, we need to make the call on changing it for future, or whatever the case may be. Okay, any questions before I move on? This is quite nifty, hey?
So,
I like it.
So Danai, just in terms of I think the powerful thing about this is you don't need to include the developers.
No.
To run an experiment. You can, as a marketing person, log into the page and make some of the changes for testing. So
exactly.
it's it empowers you to run the experiments. Just something else that's quite technical, and I think Danae's probably going to go into it, but it's important that when the experiment is started, this software takes care of the sample sizes and all the measurement for you. So you don't need to have a degree in statistics to understand if the one variant was better than the other one. But then I assume you're going to talk about that now.
Yeah. So, I mean, as Freddie said, you don't need to involve a developer. I'm definitely not a developer, and you saw me being able to make stuff. Yes, Andre, absolutely spot on. I think, it's important to have the full team involved, or at least have visibility on what it is that you're trying to achieve. It's never nice to be left in the dark. I agree. But yeah, it's good to have that perspective as well, because from your perspective, you've obviously also made changes, and you might have some insight into a possible experiment. So always good to involve the full team on that. Okay, so we've now set up the different variants, and then the following step is to link GA and to set up your objectives. Now, if you use the same Gmail or same email address as you use to sign into your analytics, this would happen automatically. So you can see over here, it's already picking up our Google Analytics account, property, and the view that we're using. So we're still using old analytics that is linked to this. And so that's why we've got a view. And when you're choosing your objectives, it gives you a drop down. So you can either choose from list or create custom. If everything is linked and set up correctly, if you choose from list, you can see you can choose your objective, and it will automatically pull through your goals that is set up in your analytics account, which is like, boom, like literally just select. For us, it was the event register. So click on that. Your objective is set. Now the algorithm knows what we're working towards, and it's all linked. Everything is talking to each other, and it will work as it need be. Final step, second final, is at the bottom. When you've already set up your variant, you've made sure that you've got your analytics linked, you've made sure that you've got your objective set up. This is just a bit of a hygiene factor, and this is from a platform perspective, just to check installation and checking the settings. So you will literally just click on that button on the right top hand corner to say check installation. Google Optimize will run. They will look at all the connections and everything that you've set up, and it will give you either yay or nay. Mostly it's yay. If it is nay, then it will tell you what you need to fix, and it will do it like I showed you in that video. It will be very, very easy to fix and just amend so that you can go live. You can also set email notifications so that you can automatically get that on performance. You can look at the traffic allocation. So you can choose if it's 100% of traffic that's going to your website that will experience this experiment, or you only want to make it available to 20%. That is completely up to you and your strategy that you are putting together. And then final step is we go live. You literally press the button, say go live. Cool. And this is a screenshot from the platform, and you will see this. It will show you the various variants. So as recommended, only two to start off with. It will show you the performance thereof. It'll give you a nice visualization of the graph. Now, this example here isn't a good one because it's not enough data. But if you have enough data, you will super easily be able to see what is working and what is not working. And this is taking me back to one of the points that I made earlier, is to minimize the risk of website changes. Andre, so if you want to change something on the website and you're not sure if it's going to work or not, you can do this first. Do the test, run it for a week. Is it better? Is it not better? The results will tell you what works and what doesn't. Again, listen to data, not your gut. So this is actually a very cool tool to help the developers as well to make that call. And you know, in terms of minimizing risk, you'll still have your leads coming in. Nothing will be broken. So you can run as per usual. So it's actually a very, very cool tool from that perspective. And I think it's important for us to just note that this test can be executed on various platforms. So Jenny, to your point earlier, you're running on a lot of platforms. You've got a lot of social media running. You've got email marketing. You've got all of that. So you can do A/B testing on your email marketing. You can do it on your Google ads. You can even do it on your social marketing. So we're not saying just to use Google Optimize, but it's really a nifty tool to use from a website perspective. But just bearing in mind, you can do it on various other platforms as well. Once it's live, what do you do? It's not just done. You can't just click go live and forget about it. Okay. So we've put a bit of a visualization together for you guys just to help you how you can continue to conduct tests. So first one is the test. So we build and track the experiments. Then after a certain time period, up to you how long you want it to run, is we need to measure. So to really understand the impact on conversion rate. Is it working? Is it not working? What is working? What isn't working? From there, we iterate and ideate and move on the experiment that worked. We're optimizing. We keep on optimizing, and we surface. So we find actionable insights. So whether it be if we want to make a permanent change to the website, or we just want to continue running other experiments, or we want to do it just on a certain landing page or the whole website, whatever you need to do, it'll surface from the test or from the experiment. And then we begin again. It's an ever-evolving industry, ever-evolving. As you know, digital always keeps on moving. It's fast-pacing. You need to stay with the market and with the speed. So there's a lot that can change, and there's a lot you can do. There's a lot of opportunities, and yeah, exciting times. I think conversion rate optimization a lot of times gets seen as scary, and it does get neglected by a lot of people a lot of times. I've seen this myself in my 10 years experience, 10 plus years, but it's actually quite simple, and you just need to start, and that's really it. Once you start, you'll see how the data works for you, and how you can just increase your performance and just get better. Yeah.
Cool. Thanks, Danae.
Sorry, I'm starting to rush you at the end. I'm seeing we're running out of time, so I wanted to leave some time for questions.
Any questions?
Okay. Not everyone at one.
If you don't have a question, we have another request. So next year we're still busy planning the workshops for next year. If you can just in the text box just type out what is the stuff you would like to learn more about. Is it lead generation? Is it Google Analytics 4? Is it email marketing? Is it just that would be very helpful for us in terms of workshops next year. And then any questions? Hendrik, was this useful for you? Cyan? Julia, is this useful for you?
Hi, Ferdy. Maybe just comment. I mean, hugely valuable. I think, as you know, I'm very new to the game, having had a previous discussion with you, and so while it's difficult to know what you don't know, just a very, very valuable session. So thank you very much.
Cool. Only a pleasure.
I think Danae's point is just to play, I think
you don't even have to go live.
Yeah, don't just play around with. And what you said earlier as well is I think we're going to go through some belt tightening in the next few months, frankly. And this is a way to increase leads and sales without actually spending any more money on media. What we've seen with a lot of clients, and this is it's almost too much effort to work on the website, and people just spend more money on Google and Facebook, and ironically, putting a bit of effort and applying yourself, the advantages is way more here. Otherwise, the other option is to spend more money and throw money at it. But I think people are not going to have the budgets in the next couple of months to do that. So this is a very interesting time for this to play, to improve it,
and for you to shine. Let's be honest.
Yeah. So
I think it's really just sometimes we get caught up in wanting to have everything perfect. It doesn't have to be perfect. It really it can be as simple as you want it to be, and it's just to start. We need to start somewhere.
Yeah. So Jenny asked a question. Most campaigns run to the website. Does this change to an off-site landing page? No, it doesn't. It stays on the website where you're running experiments. I think what Google actually does is, so the page is the same, but when you send the visitor to that page, Google then changes some of the HTML and CSS on the page. So it's actually the same page, but it just changes some of the elements
like
on the page. Yeah, it's like an overlay. So that's why it's still on your website. It just Google intercepts the visitor and shows it's something different. So you can't do massive changes on the page, but you can change copy and the layout and things like that. Yeah, that's it. If you, so I'm going to put the nice email address in this thing. If you do want to continue the conversation about conversion rate optimization, or like to know what is your conversion rate? Is it
where
good
do you
or
find
is it
the
bad?
data?
Yeah, either stay on the line, or just drop us an email. My email is in the thing as well. Just drop us a mail, and we'll log into Google Analytics with you and tell you, okay, that's looking really good, and that's not good.
Happy to help.
Cool. Any other questions? Nothing else? All right. Does anybody want to stay? We're gonna finish the session at 11. Does anybody want to stay and just go into their system and Google Analytics to have a look? Anybody? You can just raise your hand if you want, or put in the chat. No, doesn't look like it. Okay. Tonight, let me just put your email address into the chat box quickly.
Cool.
Who's raised their hand?